Alrighty, guys, welcome back. And sorry this one's a bit late, but we've got it in time before the season and the famous season preview. So we're going to be having a bit of a chat about each team, go through quickly a couple of minutes each team, and we'll just see what we come up with. It's going to be very just off we go. So off the cuff, love it. Straight into it. So I'm going to go off last year's ladder, work bottom all the way up to the top. So last place last year, the Doggies. He's got the hair out tonight. He's flowing for those watching on the video. If you're on the podcast, it's probably a good thing you're not seeing our ugly heads. But look, just quickly on the Dogs, a few key ins, which everyone knows about by now. Obviously, you got Burton, Adokar, Naden, Dufty, Pangai Jr., just to name a few, Paul Vaughan as well. They've got a few losses like Kotrick, Nick Meaney's gone, Adam Elliott, Dylan Napa, list goes on. Huge change at the Dogs. Josh, are they contenders or pretenders this year?
I'm going to be honest, and I'm not even speaking from I'm looking into this, and I'm just, on paper, I'm going, they should be a top 8 team. On paper, in my opinion, they're a top 8 team, but it's all about the cohesion. If they can all gel together, or how long is it going to take them to gel together to become a top 8 team? I'm hoping not long, man. Like, to be honest, I'm giving him 3 to 4 games. And I expect something from that. Because for the last 5 years, we've been struggling, man. People are saying, be patient, be patient. I think our patience are running out.
Yeah.
We want to see some results, man, especially with all these signings. Like, we're so hyped for this season. Like, I'm so excited for this. And as a passionate Dogs fan, man, I just want to see some results now. So in my opinion, on paper, I think we're a top 8 team.
Yeah, and look, this is a serious video here at League of Inches, but I just want to let everyone know the Dogs haven't won that long. Josh was actually bald, and he said he was going to grow his hair till they actually became a top 8 team again. And it's obviously been 5-6 years now, and the hair's just flowing. So that's the life of a Dog supporter at the moment. We love him. Sid, give us your quick word on the Dogs. Are they contenders or pretenders?
Oh, look, I think they'll improve. I really like what Josh said. I agree with everything. You guys have waited too long, and now is the time to put up or shut up. And I really think also in adding to the club itself, Trent Barrett needs to show what all the hype is about as him as a coach. You know, he went to Manly, he had a year. It wasn't so great. Then he went back to Penrith. Everyone seemed to forget that year with Manly, and all of a sudden he was again touted as the next big thing. He has his squad, his team. He's cleaned out the deadwood, as they call it. It's a big year. It's going to be a telling one. Look, if I'm a neutral fan, I'm quietly excited about you guys. It'd be interesting to see them come together.
Dane, pretenders or contenders? And for the video, guys, we're going to class pretenders as bottom 8 and contenders as top 8.
Look, I'm going to say contender. I've got them as predicted in 6th place. And I think they could be a bit of a surprise packet. But I think the first 4 to 6 weeks will be the telling of what the Bulldogs have for this season. But if it's not this year, it'll be next year. So don't worry, Josh.
Yeah, look, I've got them as pretenders for now. I think they need another year. I think they've got too many signings, and Rome wasn't built in a day. I think next year will be a much better year for the Dogs. I think there'll be a few more wins. I'm not going to say they're going to be down the bottom of the ladder again. They'll definitely be up there, but just a bit shy for now. I still have worries about the half and the hooker, which obviously doesn't get fixed till next year when they've got Reid Marnie, which we're not mentioning in this video anymore. The Cowboys.
Paris supporters, don't listen to them.
The Cowboys, I'm basically running here off my phone, so I'm trying to find their ladder, but they were obviously 15, pretty miserable season last year. I'll go first with the Cowboys. I've actually got them as my wooden spoon, so obviously pretenders. I don't really like what Peyton's doing at the moment. There's just too much whispers going out of the club, which doesn't get much. Him and Taumalo don't seem to be getting on, and that's your star player. There's big worries there for mine when your highest paid player isn't getting used the way he should be. I just worry about their halves. Everyone's talking they've got 3 or 4 options, but really I don't think any of those players would walk into any of the top 8 teams in those positions anyway. So I'm a bit worried about the Cowboys. Got them as definitely as a pretender. Josh, Cowboys, pretenders or contenders?
100% pretenders, eh?
Yeah.
Going off the last season, I don't see him. I don't see him improving at all, and I don't think they've fought pretty well as well. So yeah, pretenders, 100%.
Yeah. Sid, you got him as pretenders as well?
Yeah, they're pretenders. Their coach is a pretender. I just think and we've said it before, I don't think they've handled the aging roster very well. You want to buy for the future, so you buy a 32-year-old halfback. I mean, that signing for me reeks as desperation, and that I don't rate Hayden either.
Yeah,
Pretenders
just
for me.
on that quickly, just their games, I finally got it. Townsend and Peter Hiku, both for mine, aren't the signings that the club needed. They needed some good young talent coming in, something to be excited about. And their losses, obviously, Michael Morgan retired. Francis Marlowe gone to Dragons, really good young forward. So, and then a few others, but not much is happening. Dane, pretenders or contenders for the Cowboys?
Yeah, definitely pretenders. Bring back Matty Bowen and JT from retirement, and maybe they got something.
They need more than that at the moment, I'll tell you that. I think even them two would struggle to get them. I think we've all pretty much said that they're going to get the wooden spoons by the sound of it. The next team is an interesting one, the Broncos. And obviously their high-profile recruit in Adam Reynolds partnered with Kurt Capewell as well. A lot of pressure on these two. They've also got Branko Lee, who was out for most of the year last year. Was decent the year before and got a surprise Queensland run, which I think has got the boys set off because he used to have a running joke about that. And their losses, Xavier Coates, Pangai Jr., Anthony Milford, Alex Glenn's retired, to name a few. So a massive change up here for this club. And this is a really big test this year. They've just extended Walter's contract for some reason. I don't know why. He's done nothing to prove it, and he's not really going to be getting chased by any club anytime soon. I can't see. So I don't know why you wouldn't just let that go for another 6 months to see what's going to happen. But anyway, I got the Broncos as a pretender for now. Look, yeah, they're going to improve, but for me, too much relies on Reynolds. If he gets injured, they're shot. They'll go close to getting the spoon again this year. Dane, contenders or pretenders?
Yeah, pretenders. I don't really have anything good to say about them except that they'll probably win the women's.
Yeah, well, at the moment, their women's will probably beat the men's side, and that's not being disrespectful, but that's how good their women's side is compared to their men's side. I think they need to go to their training and see what they're doing because the women know how to play. Sid?
Yeah, pretenders. The squad, I think, has improved a little bit. I think they've missed a lot of opportunities the last couple of years in terms of retention and recruitment. They paid a little bit over for Reynolds. As you said, there is a risk factor, as much as I rate Reynolds as a player. But I think their coach is he's one of those coaches, and I've described the coach before like this, and that is he says all the right things. I just really feel like Kevin Walters is just, he's saying the right things, but he doesn't know what he's doing. And we're going to see it this year. And I agree 100% with you. Why would you extend him? No one wants him. Seriously.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. Josh, what do you think about the Bronx?
Yeah, pretenders. I agree with everything yourself and Sid have said, so I can't elaborate on it much. So yeah, pretty much pretenders,
Not what Dane said. Don't worry about what he says.
Me and Dane are on the same page. We haven't got much to say about him.
Yeah, we're not a flog like you, Joel.
Yeah, no, that's all right. We've got the Tigers next, and this is an interesting one. Well, not really. I think most people have them down the bottom of the ladder or that way. So I'm just going to go out and say pretenders, not even give a reason at the moment because I'm over talking about them, to be honest. They're a bit of a basket case. Dane?
Pretenders, Luke Brooks, flog.
God, I don't think we need to say anything else, really. Sid, are you backing that up?
Yeah. Look, this is where our league gets a little bit tricky, where those teams that have no chance of making it, they really don't have much to fight for. We don't have a promotion relegation like, soccer, for example, or even English Super League. They have a promotion relegation. And the teams at the bottom, they'll fight tooth and nail to not end up in in the second division, which is a whole lot less money, less crowds, less TV exposure, less sponsors, all that sort of thing. They've got to give them something, and I feel like Tigers are just there to just be the 16th team. They won't come last because of how bad Cowboys and Broncos are, but they're definitely pretenders.
Well, the interesting thing with the Tigers is they've only signed Hastings, really. I mean, they've got Oliver Gildart as well from Wigan and Tyrone Peachy, but they needed way more than that. After what they showed last year, they needed more. Josh, I'm going to just assume, I don't even need to really say much, but you're going to probably say they're pretenders.
Yeah, 100%. Pretenders.
Yeah. Look, I don't want to say too much on the Warriors. There's not really much to talk about the Warriors. I'm just going to say for now, I think they're pretenders. They're just missing that little bit for mine, a little bit of quality in and around, I think, the halves still. I know SJ's gone back, Johnson, but he's just a bit older, lost that spark, a bit more injuries now. I still think they're lacking that in the halves. Sid?
Look, with the Warriors, it is. I agree with what you're saying. I'm not going to disagree, but there is a little bit of interesting element, and there's two side stories here. One involves the SJ. SJ, can he reinvent himself just like Benji Marshall did when he lost that spring that you speak of? He's done his Achilles heel. It's very hard to come back, let alone being over 30. Not quite as quick, not quite as light on your feet. So he has to be quick in between the ears, and that sort of thing. And the other one is I'd like to see, which is kind of almost a player that you would turn it on just to watch, and that's that young Luke Walsh. I'm intrigued to see how he goes. I'm reading that he's bulked up a little bit because he got belted a few times, and he he did struggle towards the end of the season in terms of longevity and the wear and tear of the season. But he's probably the one shining light, and the Warriors always have young talent coming through. But other than that, not much else to report. Pretenders.
Nah, they're not really. As we said, they've signed Johnson. An interesting signing, Taylor. Originally went there for training trial, but now he's got a full-on contract. So interesting how he goes this year to really show something. He's not on the big dollars anymore, so no pressure. For mine, the big loss there was Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. He's obviously left at the end of last year and heart and soul of the club. I think that's a big reason why I don't see him doing too much this year. Dane, what do you got on the Warriors?
Yeah, definitely pretenders. I'd like to see them do well. I think the only good thing they've got going for them is they've got that Calvin Klein model. They probably need Jason Rahm. I reckon they get Rami in there. They could do some damage in that forward pack, I reckon. So maybe next year.
Oh, geez, I don't even know where to go with that one.
Where is Jason today? Where is he?
Yeah, look, there is an announcement that'll be tomorrow's video, guys. So there's an announcement on that guy. But look, Josh, the Warriors. I will say one thing about the Warriors quickly. If they can somehow get back home and we can sort all this out, which I think the borders are starting to open with everything now, and it's a bit easier. If they can go home and start getting on a bit of a run and get some wins back at home, they might surprise and be a bottom 8-ish sort of team. But until they can go home, I just feel sorry for them. They don't get to play at home, and that's a big draw card for them. Josh, can you see the Warriors doing anything?
They're one of those teams that are going to float around like 10, 7, 8, 9. You know what I mean? They're just in that pack. Like you said, Joe, not being able to play at home, it's a big minus for them. So we'll see how they go. But at the end of the day, I see them as pretenders.
Yeah. Look, there's a team next, but I'm going to skip it because we've got someone here that's probably going to talk 10 minutes on them. But we'll go the Dragons. They were next on the list. I tell you what, there's been some talk now. People are starting to talk about this team and saying they're a bit of a contender now. They're a top 8 side. Look, I'm going to go out and say, I think someone's trying to laugh there, but I'm going to say for now, pretender. I don't have him in my 8. I've got a couple other teams, but there is some things making me start to understand where people are coming from with saying that they're an 8 sort of a side. Josh and Dane, just for this one, I won't even get you two because we all know there's one man that wants to talk about his team. So Sid, you've got a minute or two. Off you go. Convince us why you think you are contenders.
Look, I only saw 2 games like everyone. We played Parramatta and I mean, both teams used about 40 players each. And and the Charity Shield was pretty good. I don't know if it was South being bad or we were much better, but the one thing I did notice that gave me a little bit of hope and heart is the continuity. I felt like they weren't yelling at each other as much. They were just running the plays, and they were very simple plays, and the hit ups were 2 and 3 players running together, and you almost didn't know who was going to get it. So what they lacked in players that could punch and do damage, they definitely had a lot of options. So when they were rotating players, you weren't losing that much, which is something that we struggled with in the past. We'd be in the start of games the last two years, and then we'd fall away as soon as the bench rotation came in. Look, quietly excited that we'll be further and further away from the bottom, and the McGregor disaster. There, I mentioned him, but I will say we're 8th. I put us as 8th, so I guess that's a contender.
Look, I've got to be fair. I criticise the Broncos. I'm going to criticise the Dragons for this. I just don't know why they extended Griffin already. I don't think he would have been there would be clubs coming at him going, we need you on board. I think they could have had some time there to go, let's just suss out what's been going on. Obviously, there's a lot of talk this year. There's some good youngsters coming in, but I just thought at least let him have the first 10 weeks or so just to prove that what he's doing's working. But now it's sort of like you back yourself into a corner for mine. Both the Dragons and Broncos now, either if they get rid of him, they have to pay him out, or they have to keep him on and they're doing a mediocre job. Hopefully they both go well, but we never know. The Raiders, boys, interesting one again. Everyone thought last year they're going to go close to winning the comp, and they obviously did anything but that. Big recruit with Fogarty. He's already out now for, 2 to 3 months. Josh, the Raiders finished 10th last year. I've got to say that I think they're pretenders again. I think the Fogarty loss is too much. I didn't actually rate the signing too highly anyway. I thought he was a little bit overhyped, that signing. But, what do you reckon on the Raiders?
Raiders are a tough one for me, man. I would have the same opinion with the Dragons. They're tough to place at the moment because I watched the Charity Shield. It was hard. So going with the Raiders, Fogarty being injured, yeah, of course, pretenders. They're pretenders. Put it that way.
Dane, Raiders. We did a video last year on the Raiders, did their big season preview, and we were both very bullish about them. We thought they were right up there for the title fight. So it was a massive shock last year. Ricky Stewart, for mine, has just pushed him too far. And I think it's time for him to leave the club personally, but he's still there, one of the sons for the club. What do you reckon about the Raiders this year? You reckon they're going to be back in there?
No, I don't think so. They really disappointed me last year, and they made me eat my own words. I've got them finishing around that 9th, 10th mark. I think they're going to cause a few upsets. They'll play strong at home, but I think when they travel, I just don't think they're going to be good enough.
Yeah, no, I can't see it either. The Sharkies, 9th spot last year. Really good signings this year. They're a club that I'm pretty excited to watch. I think they're going to do well. Definitely have them as a contender, a top 8 side, probably in that bottom 4 of the 8. They'll be. I still I'm worried about their halves combination. I think Hines will be good. Just worry about who's going to partner him. I don't know if Moylan's up to a full season length position anymore. His body just can't seem to handle it. So there's a lot of pressure on Hines to be in a new position for a full NRL season, which he hasn't done yet. So, Sid, what do you got on the Sharkies? Are they pretenders for you or contenders? Because I know you guys have a big rivalry, so take that aside, please.
I'll try. Look, I like the signings. To be honest, I've been always fond of the Sharks and the way they recruit. Like the Roosters, they always seem to recruit really well. And funnily enough, coincidentally, they've pinched one of the Roosters' assistants. And this is where it'll tell if Craig Fitzgibbon is the gun next big thing. I know I said that about Barrett, but Barrett's been there before. Fitzgibbon is touted actually as the next big thing as a coach. If he is anywhere near that, he will do well. It's an unknown commodity at the moment. It is a mystery, but I'm gonna say contenders. I'm gonna agree with you. I think bottom of the 8. I like their squad as much as I hate that club. I like their squad. Yeah, good team.
Dane, they've obviously recruited one of your old assistant coaches in Fitzgibbon, and massive raps on him. First year as a coach now. Is obviously going to have the Roosters way a little bit, but his own little twist on it. I reckon Finucane is the most underrated signing of the year, to be honest. I think the professionalism he'll bring to that club is second to none. Something the Storm will really miss, and we'll talk about them shortly. Where do you see the Sharks going?
Yeah, no, I was going to say the exact same thing. I think the way that Fitzgibbon has been mentored by Trent Robinson, he's going to take that over there, and he's going to really get them playing for him. I think he's a really, really good bloke too. Fitzgibbon, don't know him personally, but he just looks like a good bloke. But yeah, Hines, great signing again. Finucane, very underrated. He's a tough player, and yeah, I've got them finishing around that sort of 6th, 7th, 8th mark. But yeah, I think they're contenders.
Yeah, no, definitely. Titans 8th, sort of the same sort of team. Not much changes actually, which can sometimes be a good thing. They actually took it to the Roosters in that finals game and literally fell a draw and passed away, which we all remember very fondly, and don't want to bring that back up to the Herbert fans out there, but that's one he definitely wants back. I've got them as contenders in the fact that I think they'll stay in the 8 but I really am excited to see them grow this year because they've got a very young spine, so I'm not expecting them to win the comp at all. I think that's got to be realistic there, but they can definitely have some really good moments. I love Campbell, Brimson together. And then Sexton's got some really good stuff coming as well. Josh, Titans, where you got them? Where you got them?
I got them 8th, to be honest. So it's the Fafita factor for me, to be honest. That's what I'm looking forward to, man. And that's what they're building their team around. He's David Fafita. So contenders for me.
It's a good point you make because I know it was just I don't know what you'd say. It's the All-Stars game, so whether people take it full and seriously or not, I think most of the players do. That one run that he did up the sideline and he beat the players and set up the try, it just sort of told everyone, hang on, he's back here, and is he going to get even bigger and better this year, which is scary because he was massive last year. When he was on, that's the only thing with him. When he's on, he needs to be on. When he's not, he can sort of disappear, but I'm pretty excited about the Titans. Need to quickly move on here to the Knights, though, and they were 7th last year. I've got them falling way behind. I don't know. I can't see him doing anything. I've got him in the bottom 4. So a real big pretender. Sid, the Knights, they don't have your best mate anymore in Pearce, so you have no excuses to bag him anymore. Are they finally going to go up in your mind with that loss or further down?
They're not instilling a lot of excitement in terms of what they're doing, what they're building. I'll take this opportunity to swap out my top 4, my dark horse that I mentioned. I don't want the Knights. You caught me off guard in off season. I totally forgot. It's definitely the Titans for me. But as far as the Knights, nothing exciting. Caleb Ponga, he's a game breaker, but he also can be, it's a 13-man game. It's not like NBA. If you've got one superstar, that's 1/5 of your squad. That's 20% of your team. It's a 13-man game. It's a very, very small. If you can take Ponga out, it's pretty much you're going to win the game. And unfortunately, he will produce some magic and produce some tries, but it's not enough to get the Knights in the 8. Pretenders for me.
Yeah, look, it's not a video to do it, but we're going to have a bit of a chat in the next few weeks about Ponga. There's some very interesting discussion points, I think, about him at the moment. He's got Dolphins coming after him, and obviously the Knights want him to stay. But I personally don't know if he's going to be worth the money that they're all going to be chucking at him. But anyway, we'll move on from that one. The Eels, obviously 6, and I guess I'll take this one here, boys. I'll let Dane go. Actually, I'll let a neutral go first. What do you got, a pretender or a contender?
Oh, look, I've got them as a contender. I don't know. They've got to do something different. Like, they're well overdue for a win. Like, you've never seen them win a premiership. Sorry to say that again, but I don't know. They've got to do something this year. If they don't do something, then I don't know. I feel sorry for Eels fans because I know there's a lot of passionate Eels fans out there. Moses, they've all got to step up. they've got to do something this year. Unfortunately, they're not going to win it because that's going to the Roosters. But you've got to be happy coming second sometimes, and that's probably the best result for the Eels, unfortunately. So that's my take.
Yeah, look, you make some good points there. I've got to actually be honest with you and say I'm surprised. I was worried at the start of this preseason because of the noise that was happening around player re-signings and who was and who wasn't. Now that's all done and dusted. I'm a bit more confident. I'm a bit more of the belief we can go a bit further this year and either win it or come second to the Roosters, because I actually had the Roosters winning as well. But I'm believing a bit more. I know there's a few of the pros out there tipping us to actually do quite well and go as far as winning it. So if there is a year to do it, we've been together, this squad, for 3 years now. It's got to be this year. There's no more excuses. And to be honest, if I was a player, I'd still be burning from how that Panthers loss happened and what happened in that game. So if there's a year to come back and fire up, it has to be this year, because I feel like next year will be a bit more of a down year. So it just has to be. And that's the only reason why I'm trying to be positive here and say we can win it. Look, the next one, Dane is chomping at the bit for this. The Roosters, 5th last year, and they had an absolute shocker with injuries. So to get to 5th and then to get as far as they did, I thought was a massive effort. They've got their chief back in Luke Keary. Their young gun is back, stronger, bigger. In obviously Sawali and Walker, they're 2 young guns. I'll go around quickly. Josh, pretender or contender for the Roosters? Because I feel like a lot of people this year have these guys to win the comp.
Yeah, contenders 100%, man. 100% they're contenders. Like you said, they were decimated with injuries last year. And this year, they're pretty much going to play with the full squad. So, yeah, 100% contenders.
Sid, quickly, because you can let Dane take off with this. You got them as pretenders or contenders?
Oh, yeah, contenders. I will say one thing. I'm looking forward to seeing Keary and Walker work together.
Yeah, 100%. Dane, give us your best minute of why your team's going to win the comp.
Yeah, look, we've got a huge team. We've got a huge bag of money. What Sid said, I'm really keen to see how Keary and Walker work together. And I think Keary will take the reins and Walker will just sort of play more off the cuff and really just watch what Keary does. And, you add Sawali in there. We've got some big bodies, Tupou, dangerous. Look, we've got a really, really good team. There's the only thing that will stop us from winning it, I think, is injury, which obviously, last year, I'm not going to say that we were going to win it, but we were, really, really top contenders last year if we had our full squad. So, yeah, look, I don't want to get too excited too soon. We've just got to stay in one piece and, let's see if they can, give it a good go this year.
I'll be honest quickly, and we're just going to quickly say hello to Josh's guest. Would you like the Roosters, or do you give the Roosters a thumbs up or a thumbs down? I honestly think the Roosters this year, if you go on and years go by, I think because they've been so top heavy in the cap and with their starting 13, they've been very weak with depth. I think this year is different. I reckon they're the strongest depth-wise the club's ever been. And that was because of what happened last year. So I think as a Roosters fan, you should be pretty confident that even if you do get a couple of injuries, you're much better off this year dealing with that. And I think that's why so many of us haven't winning the comp, because even with a couple of injuries, I still see you guys with such a strong squad, which is very exciting.
Joe, can I make a bold prediction for Roosters?
Here we go. You've got 5 seconds.
Billy Smith. I reckon Billy Smith's going to have a massive year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, he doesn't get injured again.
Where's he going to play?
Like Gaznia. He's like Gaznia. He'll break in. He's going to have a big year, and he's a bargain on Supercoach. Go on.
Where's he going to play?
He's going to play centre.
But
they've got Joseph Manu.
They've got Manu and
injured.
Momorowski.
Momorowski won't. Watch Billy Smith. He's bigger, faster,
Tell you what, wherever Momorowski's been in the last 2 years, they've won comp. So I reckon the Roosters will be making sure they keep him on the field. Manly, top 4 last year.
Sounds like a hockey player.
Manly, top 4. I have him slipping a little bit down. Still a contender. Whenever you've got Turbo in your team, I think you've got to be a contender. If it's the same old story though for Manly for mine. If he gets injured, it's lights out. So they've got everything crossed over at Brookie at the moment that he stays fit. Josh, you're on. What about that? You think that's pretty much on the money?
Yeah, 100%. They're contenders, but it all rests on Turbo, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
so
does.
They're fucking huge contenders if he's in.
Oh, they're massive contenders for mine. If he stays fit and gets to anywhere near that form last year, that was next level. So, the Bunnies, glory to South Sydney almost last year, and their fans are burning. A huge couple of blows in terms of Reynolds, the chief, the heart and soul of that club. It's not just about what he brought on the field. He's the best kicking halfback in the game by a country mile for mine, so they've lost that. But just how he is in the club, the goal kicking, just his on-field leadership. He was basically like a coach to that team. He helped Walker out so much. Walker was the player he was because of him, helping guide the team around. Now that's all on Walker. I've got him falling a little bit. I'll class him as a contender just because they'll be in the 8 still. I can't see him falling that far away, but I'll tell you what, that there'll be, if they go off to a slow start, there'll be some nervous South Sydney supporters early on. Dane, I know you're a Roosters man, but take your hatred away. Where are the Bunnies doing this year?
Yeah, well, look, the Roosters hate the Rabbitohs. So, look, I've got them just in the top 8. So I'm going to say contenders. They're going to struggle. Reynolds, big loss. Wait, see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. Penrith. So they won the comp last year. Came second in the normal ladder. And ended up winning the comp. Back to back, it's hard. The Roosters have done it recently, but they're the only team for a long time to do it since the Broncos. And it is a very, very hard thing to do. We saw a glimpse of it, I think, against Parramatta in the trial. Yes, it was only a trial, but they were bashed. And we haven't seen that with Penrith for the last 2 years. They were literally bashed out of that game. And again, it's trial. You can't read too much into it, but I don't think the Penrith of old would have let that happen. Sid, Penrith, give us 30 seconds what they're going to do.
Okay, on one hand, I think they're going to lose that little bit of fire because they've won it, they've done it. But on the other hand, they're going to also lose that pressure because they've won it and they've done it. So they're going to throw the ball around. On their day, they're going to be good. I agree. I wouldn't read too much into that trial. You never know. Some training weeks, they spend the whole week on videos. Some training weeks, the whole week's in the gym and on the hills. So we won't really know. But contenders for me, though.
Yeah, Josh, you've stolen one of their really good young guns who was able to be a stopgap solution last year so well in Burton. He helped him at centre, 5'8" when needed. He probably popped up at fullback a few times as well, no doubt. Where do you see Penrith going this year? Because I think that's a huge loss actually this year, having no Burton.
It's a big loss, but at the same time, they got some gun depth, and Penrith have some good depth. They got some good juniors in that. So I don't think they'll feel it that much, man. I think they're a strong chance to get back-to-back here.
Ooh,
so the contenders.
Yeah, okay. Dane, who are you agreeing with here?
Yeah, no, I think they're young, they're fast. I still think I agree a bit with what Sid said. They're going to throw the footy around, have a bit more fun because the pressure's off them. The only way that they'll go back-to-back, and they can do it, is they need to get Sonny Bill Williams. It's been proven.
This guy. Oh, God.
You got to think like Uncle Nick.
Don't
you got to think like Uncle Nick.
Don't bring him back. The Storm, first last year, they couldn't get it done when it mattered. Every year, someone says the Storm, they're gone. They're done. I'm putting my hand up this year. I can get egg on my face. I'm the one that's going to say it. I think they're done. They're going to be in the top 8. Yeah. I think they'll be edge of that top 4, but I think this is where the slide starts to go down finally for the Storm. We're starting to see cracks, a little bit of off-field incidents, which Bellamy never likes to have his players involved with. A couple of key players now gone. We've already spoken about in Nico Hines, Finucane, just to name a few. A lot of going next year to the Dolphins. Are they all going to be there heads on? I've got them slipping just away. Look, contenders still, but not as highly as they've been in the past. Dane, as a Roosters man, what do you think about the Storms?
Yeah, look, I'm hoping that you're right, Joel. I think the only storm is it's going to be raining losses for Melbourne, hopefully. So, yeah, they're still contenders, though, but I just don't think they're going to be anywhere near as strong.
The other two boys, you've got about 20 seconds each. So, Sid, Storm, what do you think of them?
All hinges on Harry Grant if he can get some durability, because he's top class, but he wasn't that tough, and he seemed to have a niggle and a knock every other game, and if he can last, they can do something, but they're in a bit of a flat point. Finally,
they've got to try and finally work out a way to have him and Smith on the field together, and they would be terrorising some oppositions. I know that. Josh, what do you think of the Storm?
Well, they'll definitely play finals footy, but they won't win the comp.
Finally put as a true man yourself. I like that, short and sweet. Look, guys, that's our season preview done. It's a nice, short, sharp one. Get it all done. Next video you'll see us, we'll be previewing round 1. Footy season's back. Keen as. You can see Dane with the hat on there, so we'll be getting that out as well to everyone who is interested. Just been flat out with everything that's been going on. Hope everyone's staying safe. It's a shitty time of year. We've got to use some French because it really is. But we'll talk to everyone. Team round 1 preview, and good luck to your team this year. We hope. Not everyone can win the comp, but look, go the Mighty Eels.
They're the Dogs.